Exactly. So a lot of people, they don't become successful in doing it, and they go back sticking with what they know, being a brokerage, and come back to us to be their service provider. Of course, there are companies who are giving you the software, so it's not difficult to replicate copy trading. I mean, if you know a little bit of basics of trading mechanisms and know what's the difference between contract sizes, etc., anybody can create it. But when you get a software and you install it on your MetaTrader platform or CRM or wherever, you have to populate that system. You have to bring in good traders to provide the signals, and you have to bring in people who are gonna copy the strategies.
Welcome to the Financial Frontiers podcast. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon to get notified when we upload new content. Follow us on Spotify and give us a 5-star rating. It will help the channel, which I hope you love so much. And we're here back, the Financial Frontiers podcast. I'm super excited to be in the new studio with my very first guest. New equipment over here, Zoltan Nemeth.
Yes.
If I've got that correct, let's start this process again. I'm really excited to have you, Zoltan, from ZuluTrade. Also a veteran in the industry. We actually met a couple of times in the very recent past. Not sure how our paths did not cross in the past, but it is what it is.
Expos, most probably. Yeah. Expos, events.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, as the very first guest in the new studio over here, welcome.
Yeah, looks good.
Zoltan, I'm looking forward to having this conversation. Let's go. Introduce yourself, please. Let's get started. Get into a conversation over here about whatever. Wherever this conversation takes us.
Sure. So as you know, I'm Zoltan. I'm originally from Hungary, always very hungry, I think you can tell. I'm very passionate about food and culture and whatever world has to offer. I moved to Cyprus 2009, so I'm almost 15 years in Cyprus, and no, actually exactly 15 years. Yeah, so far I'm loving it. I enjoy the food, the culture, as I said. Okay, not as good as back in Hungary, but you don't compare apples with oranges, so it's different.
Yes.
It's fine. And since I'm in Cyprus, I was always fascinated about the financial industry. I was always looking to invest something and get in the investment business. So I was looking around, and I found a Forex company. They took me on board. This was 2011. And ever since, I'm in the financial services sector. So that's the long story short. Of course, I have other stories and many more stories. But actually, so you see, I was introduced to the finance sector by my mother. And this is it's a very long story. Okay, it's not like a story with a happy ending. Hopefully it's going to have a happy ending later in the future, but it has a bit of a bittersweet beginning. So my mom, she was diagnosed with cancer. She knew that she's going to die. It wasn't operable. And she was trying to leave us some money. And the way she thought to do it is through a trust fund. And she knew that the Hungarian currency is not something very stable. So she left the money in US dollars in a trust fund. So when I became 18, literally the day after my birthday, I got a phone call from the trust fund, and they were informing me that you have some money that your mom left for you. And of course, I burst into tears. And it took me many years to understand why she did the way she did it and how she did it. And it really changed my way of thinking about finances and how to make sure that, you know, your child has something to go on with. So yeah, that's how I got introduced to the finance industry. And since then, I'm always interested in trying to find not saying the newest, latest trends. Obviously, I try to keep up to date, but there's so many, let's say NFTs.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with them. Suddenly it became a big boom. Everybody talking about them, everybody's investing, and then suddenly everybody's losing millions, and then NFTs disappeared kind of. So you don't hear people talking about anymore. So, yeah. So regardless that, I try to keep up to date with the finance sector as part of my job and as part of my personal interest as well.
Well, that's some emotion over there with regard to the history and how you got into it. And, when you talk about Hungary, my brother-in-law is from Hungary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we were actually in Hungary with my family this year. And we went to, I fully understand, it's different foods, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so you come and you say that, Hungary's food is better, and game on, right? So
yeah, well, like I said, comparing cuisines, apples with oranges.
It's different cuisines. And we went to this one place where you said, there's there's culture, there's a lot of culture and history in Hungary. And that's very noticeable because when we went to this restaurant, this medieval...
Sir Lancelot.
Correct, that's it. I was trying to remember that
That's
name.
my go-to place.
Oh, what a beautiful place.
Every time I go, at least once I have to go there.
You have a proper feast there, and I was just waiting for some kind of Vikings to come in, and the beers and things. It was really good. The food was delicious. Hungary was amazing. With the hot springs, and it's a beautiful place.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I did. I really did. I enjoyed it a lot, and the food is good. So I acknowledge. But there's also a reason why you also like Cyprus, because the food is here as well. Yeah. Apples and oranges, as you said.
Sure.
And I'm also glad you like Cyprus as well. Cyprus has a lot to offer. As we know, the financial industry here is pretty big. A lot of us are making a living off of this industry here. And, your story is one that I honestly haven't heard of, that I haven't heard, it comes from such a personal place. But everybody has some kind of a start, right? And, part of the reason that this podcast is here is I want to make sure that people are well informed, right, with regard to finances in general, not just in trading, in investing specifically, where the majority of the conversations we have here are about investing and trading, but also just generally about entrepreneurship and about finance in general. And before we started this recording, you said before 2011, when you entered into the industry here, you were in different things, and happy to discuss that. You also you started a business, so there's a bit of entrepreneurship experience we can talk about here. Looking forward to that. So I guess let's start with before Hungary, and also I want to talk about the trust, right? So that trust fund, because that's an interesting one. People generally, you don't know. It's funny how the name, right? Trust fund. People don't know what to trust. True. And so, if I go and I put my money in wherever, or if I've trusted someone, portfolio or money manager with my money, how can you know that that's going to work out for the best? And your mom made a decision where, and I guess it was a smart decision, where she chose, the Hungarian currency. I forget the name.
Forint, Hungarian forint.
The florint. That's what.
Forint. Without the L.
Without,
it's
forint.
Close enough.
Yeah. Is volatile and in US dollar, but that decision might have worked out to be wrong, but you just don't know, right? What if the US dollar crashed? So very difficult. But
sure,
you don't know what to trust, and so let's talk. I mean, there's different topics here, so let's talk about what were you doing before in Hungary in terms of other industries, and how that set you up to be successful in the financial services industry.
To be successful, I mean, I don't know what considers being successful, But I had this dream when I was a little boy. I come from the era when we had the first computers coming out. And I remember my first computer, I don't even know, it was I think Commodore or not sure. So I got it in a box, had to plug it in on the TV, and it comes with a booklet, and I had to write, like kind of copy paste, just you had to type it manually from the booklet, the code, so you can play a game which is like ping pong with your brother or sister. So took me like 3 days to type it in, and then eventually I managed to play. So that kind of set me in a way that I had a dream of becoming a computer programmer. I was going to write all kinds of games. I was going to play all day for a living and stuff like that. So that was the dream. And of course, parents encouraged me, and I studied towards that direction. And then I went into uni. In uni, I got a scholarship. I was really excited about it, and then I realized that uni that for 2 years or 3 years we weren't even gonna touch a computer. We were studying everything off of the books, theoretical, mostly mathematics actually. So how you formulate a question in a mathematics equation, how you solve the equation, and then later on after the third year, let's say another 2 more years, when you actually become a programmer. So initially they were teaching you to be a mathematician, then a programmer. And then was a little bit too, I wasn't saying difficult, but it wasn't what I hoped it to be, let's say. So I made a decision, okay, I had to quit. And I was searching for any kind of job that I could find. I knew some English, I knew computers. Back then we had ECDL, it's a European Computer Driving License. So back then when you were applying, you were listing your ECDL license, European Computer Driving License number, and then they took you to a job where you can use computers. I mean, we're talking about early 2000s, so it was a different era. And I managed to find a job which was online advertisement. So back then this company was selling advertisement space. Imagine yellow pages online. So that was a kind of a new concept, and we were selling it to corporations and whatnot. So I entered into the sales business, and it turns out I'm quite good at it. I have the blah blah, as they say. So I was doing well, and one thing led to another. Most of the jobs that I did was either sales related or on the opposing side of making a business deal, so maybe purchasing. So I've did a little bit of, I wouldn't say everything, but a little bit of a lot of things. Like I was in the dairy industry. So we were selling milking equipment for farms, for cows, goats, whatnot. Before that, we were doing all kinds of licensed plush toys and things for school, like licensed from cartoons, Disney pictures, etc. So we bought the license, we manufactured some products abroad, brought it to the country, sold it to big supermarket chains, etc. So we did that. After that, I actually had a little bit of a trip to London. So I wanted to rediscover myself. Back then I had a relationship. It's kind of finished. And also I lost my job. It was this one, 2008. So people were afraid that this big housing industry bubble from America and financial crisis is going to start, and people started laying off people, and they said, look, Zoltan, you're young, you're going to find job easily. We keep the older employees, they have more difficulty to find jobs. So then I had a little bit of pocket money. I was a free man, and I said, okay, why not? Let's go. And I went abroad to London. Again, it wasn't planned, it wasn't orchestrated. I was looking for any kind of jobs. There I worked all kinds of labor-intensive jobs, and eventually I started my own business there as a window cleaner. And actually it went really well. It started going well, and then I got an opportunity to come to Cyprus to start a new life, and I came, and I kind of got stuck. I tried to escape from Cyprus. I went back to London again for 6 months with a job, but eventually I came back to Cyprus. I did the same. I went to Australia for a couple of months, and then I came back to Cyprus, and looks like I'm staying here. Now family and everything is here, so
yeah, when you
more
get
settled.
When you get your family, when that kind of locks you in, and why not? Cyprus is amazing. I guess everybody starts from some kind of a physical, a work.
Yeah.
You need to go through the physical part.
I think you have to actually to appreciate life differently. I mean, even before I started working, I was working as a student. I tried flipping burgers. I did a little bit of construction work as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tried a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it builds a lot of foundation and appreciation for whatever anyone learns.
Yeah.
It helps, right? It helps in your career generally. Okay, so 2011, and feel free to not share or share whichever companies you worked with in the past. That's really up to you.
I mean, it's no secret. I mean,
Yeah.
almost everybody in the industry has a LinkedIn page.
Yes.
On the
exactly.
LinkedIn page, you have all the companies that you
Yep.
were working with before. So yeah, I started my career back then with IronFX. Actually, I learned almost everything there. I mean, okay, we keep learning as we go, but a lot of the basics I learned there. And then after IronFX, I was a couple of months with eToro. Then I left the Forex industry or finance industry. I tried to start my own business, which I actually did, but it wasn't bringing as much money as I hoped it to be.
What business was that?
I still have it. It's related to football. So it's called Cyprus Bubble Football. It's the place of the advertisement. I'm actually currently not doing any games, but the idea is that you have an inflatable bubble. You get into this bubble, so you kind of protected from head to your knees, and you play mini football with the bubbles. So while you're playing the football, you can bump into each other, tackle each other. It's kind of fun. So I did a lot of corporate events.
I've done it.
Hey, you might have been a customer then. Or you've done it not in Cyprus.
Let me just remember where I did it. I'm just trying to... No, it wasn't in Cyprus.
UK, SA.
I'm trying to remember which country we were in. It might have been Hungary.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. I mean, I didn't look around where I can find the same. But yeah, in Cyprus, actually, I think a lot of people try to do the same business, but now mine is the only one left, let's say.
I guess, and I guess events, right? Events. When we did it, it is, even though the theme is football,
yeah,
you don't play football.
You don't even see the ball.
You're playing bumping cars.
Yeah, true that. I mean, obviously there are different sort of games that you can play with the equipment, not necessarily just football. So you can do just wrestling or sumo, or you call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But then after COVID came, everything got a little bit more difficult. You had to disinfect the bubbles and make it safe for everyone. Of course, we closed down as well a little bit. So, and then really after COVID, we didn't really resume. I mean, you get busy with life, and then after you have kids as well, time is precious. So
of course,
whatever doesn't bring big impact, you try to cut back on. So
but I think I don't think there's another provider in Cyprus that has this.
No, not anymore. There used to be, I think, almost in every city. So I think there was one in Larnaca, maybe Ayia Napa as well.
Yeah. Yes.
I was the last one standing. The business is still there. I mean, I still get inquiries, but only doing like when it's not too hot, when it's not too cold, when it's not raining. So I'm more comfortable on selecting which events I'm doing or not.
So when I went, I was with my family, obviously, my wife and my two kids, and we teamed up, and the size is important,
Of course.
and weight is important. So we don't have a problem playing in there.
No.
It's when the wife and the kids try, and they bounce and they just bounce off, and it's really funny. It's a fun game. We had a lot of fun doing that, and you get fit, eh?
Yep.
You run.
It's like a sauna.
Exercise. Yeah, it's very tiring, yeah. But fun. So cool. All right, and then so that was COVID.
Well, obviously before that I went back in the finance industry.
Yes.
I mean, from the events. It's something with Cyprus, like people don't really keen on trying new things. So it's almost with everything, if I want to be honest, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you go to a restaurant and you want to have a beer, Kio Carlsberg. Yeah. It's not advertisement, but it's only two things. Why? Because people get used to things and they want the same things again and again and again.
It's a comfort zone.
Like with me, I like to try new things. So if I go to a restaurant and I see a beer that I haven't tried, I'll go for that beer, or food or whatnot. So same with entertainment as well. So a lot of people are reluctant to try new things. So it wasn't bringing the millions that I was hoping to make. So I went back in the financial services. Back then it was ZuluTrade. I was in Nicosia. And then after I moved to Orbex for a few years. Then I got recruited by Swissquote, and now with ZuluTrade as a current step in the career.
Yeah, so some big names there. Obviously, eToro is one that I think whoever's involved in this industry, many know of eToro. Yeah. One of the biggest companies, I guess, in the industry. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I mean, no. This is just a conversation, an open conversation about the industry, and sharing knowledge on whatever we know. And so, eToro is, for those who don't know, is copy trading.
I think,
or social trading.
I think they are more of a brokerage, I would call them.
Okay.
I mean, that's their main business, and that's how they license to be as well, a brokerage. And they're
based in Israel, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, now, look, they have offices now a lot of places, but back then when I was with them shortly, they had an operations in Cyprus as well. They still have, and Israel. So that was the two locations. Yeah. Now I think they have multiple locations. But essentially the company is a brokerage, which has a social trading or copy trading element. Mm-hmm. So that's a different story. But originally, copy trading was invented by ZuluTrade, where I am at now.
Yep.
So that was back in 2007. So
ZuluTrade started in 2007.
Yes. So ZuluTrade was started 2007. I'm not 100% sure, but I tried to reach the source why ZuluTrade is ZuluTrade. So obviously it fascinated me, and it would make sense to kind of affiliate it with the Zulu tribe in South Africa. Yeah. But apparently it's not affiliated with the Zulu tribe in South Africa. So the explanation that I was given is from employees who are more than 10 years in the company. So back then the founder was also investor, and there is different time zones, and back then it was more difficult to find the news, which time zone it relates to, and he thought, okay, in the military they call it Zulu time, the UTC time. It was Zulu time. So he thought, okay, let's make a Zulu trade for all the traders to consider as the starting point, or the main point, or the place to go for traders. So hence ZuluTrade. So it's gonna be the originating spot of all the traders to gather around and create sort of a social environment where people can come, share their knowledge, share their strategy, share their ideas, and kind of beat the market together as a community.
Oh, well, that's an interesting. I didn't know that, and to be honest, I didn't even know the term ZuluTrade in military terms.
It's Zulu time, yeah.
Zulu time, okay.
Yeah, I mean, mostly American.
Which is what, GMT or
is UTC.
UTC
Or GMT, whichever.
Zero,
UTC 0 or GMT 0,
Okay.
yeah. So in the military, they kill Zulu time.
And I wonder why, in military terms, why they call it Zulu.
It's something that we have to Google after the conversation. But
Well, South Africa is in GMT +2, so no, there's no link there.
no, there's nothing to
Nothing
do with
to
Zulu.
do with, yeah.
No, it's most probably starts with the alphabet. I mean, the
Oh,
American Army.
Right.
It's talking code, so Alpha, Charlie, Zulu,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Okay.
probably relates to that. But
That's interesting. Okay. And so ZuluTrade is a social trading platform, as you explained it before briefly, where traders alike can get on and share ideas and try together as a social community of traders, let's call it.
yeah,
To beat the market. And so what I never understood, and just my view of ZuluTrade, and I think many people in the industry may have the same perspective of ZuluTrade today. 10 years ago, the ZuluTrade was everywhere. I mean, it was a lot more in the limelight, let's call it, in the spotlight. The name was coming up as a brand a lot more often than what it does today. Where nothing, to my knowledge, has happened for that to, I guess almost it seems that they've hit some kind of a mainstream. They're not really bullish or aggressive on marketing, and have hit some stabilized revenue, let's call it, generation with their current customers. And what I never understood about ZuluTrade is, and these are going to be questions that I have myself, which I think maybe many people know. But so first of all, is ZuluTrade like eToro, which is also a brokerage that has this copy trading or social trading element? Or, and my belief is more the latter, what I'm going to say is, it is a platform that other brokers can use for copy trading. And maybe I'm completely wrong.
The short answer is the second one.
Okay.
But to expand on it a little bit, so yes, let's start with the first question. I think where was ZuluTrade 10 years ago or 17 years ago?
Yeah.
So obviously 17 years ago when it started, first it had to get popular, and then when it became very popular, everybody was talking about ZuluTrade. Even I remember from the time when I started investing and I wasn't affiliated with ZuluTrade, I remember ZuluTrade as the place to be, the place to go, to collect trading ideas, to post strategies, etc. And then I don't know if it was exactly 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatnot, but eventually people thought, okay, copy trading is not that difficult. Let us create our own copy trading like eToro. The difference is that eToro is a brokerage. eToro is an execution venue for customers. And ZuluTrade is not an execution venue, is not a broker. So we are a technology provider. So we have the know-how to connect one trader from this end of the world to the other side of the world with a different trader. And it works between cross brokerages, cross different platforms. So at the moment we're supporting 4 different platforms, which is MT4, MT5, X Open Hub, and ZuluTrade. And we can connect 500 brokers. So clients from all over the world using 500 different brokers, they can come, upload their strategy, and we can connect literally anybody to anybody. So we map the data between each brokerages to make sure when somebody wants to copy a strategy from this client to that client, the contract size is matching, the symbol is matching, etc., etc. So having said that, it's not that difficult to do it, but you have to build a community.
Sure.
You have to get the people on board. You have to keep them on board. You have to provide a system which is a non-competitive system. So if I'm a broker, I wouldn't go and use another broker's platform because it's conflict of interest. So when somebody like eToro created their own social trading network, they even have a clause, I believe, in their how you call them, popular traders, that it's exclusive. So they're not allowed to broadcast their strategy on a different platform. So they're kind of trying to keep them in-house, which for them might work. For us, we are a broker agnostic platform. As I said, we support 500 brokers. So if a leader, we call them leaders, if a leader has a strategy and is present in many different brokers, many different platforms, they can upload all their strategies with us. So some of the leaders, they have 10 different strategies uploaded on our platform, and people from across the world, from different companies, they can copy them. So in a sense, we are different from everybody. So I guess back in the days after eToro did their own thing, people started to think, okay, I can do the same. But it's not that easy. So a lot of people, they don't become successful in doing it, and they go back sticking with what they know, being a brokerage, and come back to us to be their service provider. Of course, there are companies who are giving you the software, so it's not difficult to replicate copy trading. I mean, if you know a little bit of basics of trading mechanisms and know what's the difference between contract sizes, etc., anybody can create it. But when you get a software and you install it on your MetaTrader platform or CRM or wherever, you have to populate that system. You have to bring in good traders to provide the signals, and you have to bring in people who are going to copy the strategies. And it takes time.
But that makes a lot of sense, and I think I'm going to build a bit onto what you just said, because I mean, when you're involved in the industry, a lot of what you say, I mean, I can understand what you're saying there, and I'm going to kind of almost repeat what you said and give my perspective here. So that makes a lot of sense, because like the likes of eToro, right? They call it right place, right time, correct marketing strategy. Their community is so massive that they don't need a separate entity or brokerage to add to their pool of potential traders that other traders can follow. Because the success of any social trading or copy trading, and this applies to social media platforms as well, the success of any social media platform, anything social, is the size of the community.
Yeah.
And so eToro almost doesn't need anyone else, because they right place, right time, correct marketing, bang, and it makes sense for them. In my view, it makes a lot of sense that they want to keep the top traders exclusive to just eToro, because that's going to attract other traders and keep them within their ecosystem. Whereas ZuluTrade is a completely different business model. You're a B2B. And the value add that ZuluTrade has, as opposed to, let's call it, other copy trading platforms that's easy to develop, let's call it. It's not so easy, but I mean, let's just say that, a good developer can go on and create a copy trading platform for the broker. The problem there is a broker, especially a startup or one that's mid-sized, the size of their community that they have access to, that they're going to provide social trading to, isn't as big as what ZuluTrade has the potential to bring to a broker of that size, because ZuluTrade's bringing the audience of 500 brokers, which, by the way, surprised me. Are those 500 active brokers right now with ZuluTrade?
Yeah. So obviously we segment the brokers differently. So when you are, as a client, you log in, you create a user, you put your country code, telephone number, we verify you. The moment you first of all, there is two types of client. One who has an active trading account, so they want to connect it. So we allow anybody to connect any broker account. So if you don't find your brokerage account amongst that 500, you can request it. You can send us a message. We have a button there, request a broker. You put the broker name, server, etc. If you don't have it, we will add it. So
you don't need a relationship with a broker to add it to the list of brokers that ZuluTrade has?
No.
Okay.
Not always.
So it's a pure peer-to-peer model. And so where's the revenue stream of ZuluTrade? If it's not from the broker, it's from the end trader.
It's from the broker, so it's not from the end trader. So actually, we tried different revenue streams across the 17 years. So we tried charging the users a monthly fee, a subscription fee, profit sharing. What we found out of all of these revenue bases, that we charge the broker, that's the easiest. So we only have financial relationship with the brokers. We make our platform free of charge for all the users. So we don't charge the users anymore. So that's the current business model. We don't charge the users. Now, we add any broker to our platform, and we reach out to the brokers as well to do a partnership agreement with them. Obviously, some of them, they might refuse. No problem. We take them off of the list. Some of them, they are interested. So we keep them on the list.
Okay.
But in any case, so there is two types of user. One who has an existing trading account, and we have almost half of the users who come to us, they don't have a trading account. They just heard ZuluTrade, copy trading, etc. So they want us to introduce them to brokers. So based on their location, geolocation, and what licenses are available, we will recommend them some brokers, and they can choose out of all those partners. Now, obviously, the partner brokers that we have and we display, they pay a little bit more. So they pay an annual fee as well for the placement, a volume-based fee, etc., etc. We have brokers who don't pay the annual fee. They don't want to be listed. They don't want leads or customers to be sent to them. So that's that.
Okay.
But in general, there is no other system where you can have 500 brokers just at your fingertips. And I got what you said about eToro and the people who are doing their own ecosystem. But wouldn't be, I'm just looking at the trader's perspective, not the brokerage side, just as an end user or trader. It would make more sense to kind of hedge my bets or split the risk and have from different companies, different brokers, different strategies that I want to follow or copy, because, anything can happen. I mean, we saw it in the past. Some brokerages, they just went bankrupt between one to the next day, like when it was the Swiss franc event,
Yes.
or even after that. Some of them, I'm not naming names, but anyways, you can hear brokerages losing their licenses overnight. And trading stops, everything stops, people are running after their money, etc. And it's in the regulated and lesser regulated entities as well. So as a trader, you would be wise to follow different strategies, different companies, so you kind of hedge your bets.
Okay, but it still means that the trader still has to have an account with an individual broker.
Yes.
And then from there, they still have the vulnerability of their account there, even though they're following multiple brokers, that their account with that one single broker is still vulnerable, I guess, to that broker going under.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, and it's very solid advice, is do due diligence, whatever it is, make sure that the broker's solid.
We do the same thing for the leaders as well, and for the brokers. So every time we do put anybody on our website, whether if it's a broker or a leader, we do our due diligence. So we only work with regulated brokers. We don't work with unregulated ones, for example. We have a lot of inquiries, again, from different industries. Now the biggest hype is the prop firms.
Yes.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, I mean, at the moment, prop trading is not regulated by any regulator. So we decided we're not doing business with prop firms because they're not being regulated, they're not being supervised. And as a matter of fact, they all do business on demo accounts. So that's what also sets us apart, that we only do live trading. Mm-hmm. So we exclude demo traders, we don't welcome them. So that's also a big difference. Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we vet all the brokers, and also we vet the leaders as well. So they have to upload their strategy. They provide us the description. We check if there is. We also don't want them to start promoting some other things like personal things, or reach out to the customer, share spam or links to unsolicited offers, etc. So we try to keep the traders safe, kind of creating value for them. And that's also down in the pipeline. We have other things coming with ZuluTrade. So we are into creating wealth. And I think this has been the goal of the company from the very beginning. It was focused on the CFDs and the Forex industry to start with, but we're looking into other asset classes now to see where we can help the investors to invest their money on the long term, to create wealth, to build wealth, and also maybe towards education as well, because I think education it's very, very important. We talked about it before, like investment is like any trade in the world, even as driving a car or whatnot. So driving a car, you need to get an examination, which is a written examination or a verbal one. You go through a course, and then you go into the driving instructor on a field, and then once he says he's ready, you go out to the real traffic with the instructor. And once you got your driving license, you're a newbie driver. You're not a professional driver, so you're not gonna drive a Formula One car down on the racetrack. And actually, that's what's investing on leverage. So just because somebody did an online course, watched a couple of YouTube videos, played a little bit on the demo account, it doesn't qualify them to be a professional trader. They are newbies. So they need to still put in the time, the effort, and keep learning. And I think this is the way to give value to the clients as well. So we will focus more on education as well in the future.
In the same metaphor, I guess what ZuluTrade or copy trading is if you a rookie driver, you just got your license, but you want to drive fast.
Yeah.
Get into the passenger seat.
Exactly.
Of the leader. So you mentioned leader. Leader are leaders in the terminology of the ZuluTrade world is a sophisticated trader who knows what they're doing in theory and has followers or traders that are copying them.
Yeah.
So that's what a leader is.
Yeah. So anybody can kind of publish their results, their trading results. So if you have at least 1 month of trading history, you can obviously upload it on our platform. People can analyze it. They can see it. We will also analyze it. So we will give it a risk score. We will show drawdown. We will show profitability. We will show what assets they were trading in the past, what assets they have currently open. So we show as much information as is needed, and people can base their decision off of those information. Now, of course, if you have 1 month trading history, people wouldn't consider you as an expert. But some of our leaders, they have years and years of trading history on the platform. So, of course, you can compare them.
And how does does the leader have a revenue?
Yeah.
So what the copiers, what are they called? Copiers or followers?
Yeah. So there is two different expressions. The followers, you can follow anybody without any money, any invested equity.
Oh, you're just following, but
you follow them like you follow them on Facebook or
you're looking at
whatever.
Them.
Yes, you're looking at them. So every time they make a transaction or whatever, you get a notification. So you kind of be able to learn.
You get a taste of how that person trades.
Mm-hmm. So you get a taste of how the person trades. Of course, a lot of people try to be clever, and you get the notification, and then you try to copy the exact trades manually on your own platform. But again, you need to have your own platform ready and open. You don't know what asset the leader is gonna trade, so then you quickly have to find the right asset, the right time, position, lot size, stop loss, take profit. So it's not as easy to do manual.
And for why would they want to do that? To avoid charges of the leader?
Yeah, so before in the past, we were charging them based on strategy per month.
Okay.
We're not doing that anymore, so it's no reason to do that. But then again, some people, they think, okay, there is conspiracy everywhere, so they don't want to get into the actual copy trading. But of course, this is the minority. So So you can follow a strategy, you can learn from it, you can pick up how they trade, or you can copy someone, which means actually you invest money on your trading account, you allocate certain amount of funds to this person, and that's the amount that you are risking actually. So you can have any amount on your trading account and just allocate a fraction of it for the copying, and the rest of the money is safe. So that's what we call the Zulu guard. So it safeguards the rest of your money, just the allocated amount that you allocate to that leader, it's at risk. And then anybody can be a leader if you have at least one copier, and if at least you have 1 month of trading history, and of course if you're profitable. So if somebody starts off and straight away is in minus, and nobody will follow that person.
Yeah.
So obviously we recommend to have a couple of months of history, and that's it. But we encourage
with active trading, because you could have a couple of months of history with one trade that was very profitable.
Yes and no. So for example, every month the clock starts from zero, let's say. I'm not saying it resets, but we display the closed trades.
Right.
So every month if you don't close a trade, that month is zero. So you didn't gain, you didn't lose anything. So on our chart it would show zero profitability. And on those months they don't earn revenue, our leaders. So back to your question, we do pay our leaders. So currently we pay them on the volume basis, as many trades they do. However, we are changing now. We are changing the business model, and actually it's going to be much better for them. So we're going to compensate them as a percentage of the assets under copy. So the bigger the portfolio it grows, the more money they manage, the higher percentage they can get.
And as a model, I mean, the only way you're going to have people following you and trading assets and doing all of that, because let's say somebody's thinking about this and say, easy money, I'm just going to go and do this. Well, you need to have a good track record for people to start following you. And the better your track record, the better you'll do.
Exactly. So if somebody out there has years or just months of profitable trading history, come to us, upload the strategy, become a leader, and you earn an extra stream of revenue by sharing your strategy.
How much do they earn?
It depends how many followers you have. Depends how much money.
From one follower, or is it, again, does it depend?
So now I rather talk about the new scheme that is coming from 1st of January. So we're going to be paying between 2% and 5% of the assets under management on an annual basis. So let's say you are a leader and you have $100,000 following you, you're going to be earning 5% of that, which is $5,000 for the whole year. Now you break it down to 12 months and you get a salary. Of course, the better results you're going to have, the more followers you're going to have, the bigger the portfolio that is following you, so the revenues are going up as well.
Okay, and say I'm a leader now and I want to participate in this. As we said before, ZuluTrade it's a B2B model.
Yeah.
And so how do I find, do I go to the ZuluTrade portal, register on ZuluTrade, and then from there find a list of brokers? Or do I find the list of brokers and then go straight to the broker and register with a broker that I already know because I've done my research, is part of the list of brokers that ZuluTrade is connected to? Which is the way to go?
So if you're a leader, I mean, obviously you have an existing trading account. You have an existing strategy that works. I prefer the leaders to upload the existing strategy with their choice of broker.
And just this opens up one question which I wanted to ask before. And you had mentioned, let's say I'm a leader, right? And I'm with broker ABC. ABC is not currently connected with ZuluTrade. Right. And that's why I asked, if you have to have the relationship with a broker, because you mentioned, let's say I'm with ABC broker and I go and I request with ZuluTrade, please add ABC broker. That's still dependent on ABC broker agreeing with ZuluTrade.
Not necessarily. So I rather have the leader coming on board with us and not having a partnership with ABC broker. And even if they refuse to have a partnership, I'm just going to have the relationship one-sided. So I'm gonna onboard leaders from that ABC broker, but I might not recommend clients to ABC broker. So in a sense, I'm not earning any money from ABC, the broker, but they're not going to take advantage of our ecosystem. So I'm not going to send clients to them.
Right.
As if they come and ask, hey, listen, ZuluTrade, where shall I open a trading account? Which broker do you suggest based on my geolocation, whatnot? ABC is not going to be on the recommended list. Still going to be able to connect, but I'm not sending them our clients.
Which means that the technology ZuluTrade, and I'm guessing this, and you can confirm if my understanding is correct, that means that ZuluTrade does not need to have server-side or manager-side connection to the broker. It's all on the terminal level.
Yes.
Right.
So we do have different connectivity types. One of them is called the terminal connection. Great, it works. But we have a different level connection called the manager API. So when we connect between two managers.
But that's dependent on
partnership with the broker, obviously.
Partnership with the broker.
So they need to give us access.
Yes. Yes.
And of course, the manager API is more reliable,
yes.
more faster execution,
yes.
like almost instantaneous,
yes.
less slippage. So imagine there is two brokers which are not partners, let's say. And one of them is hosting the leader, the other one is hosting the copier. Obviously, the execution is slower.
Because it has to come through Zulu.
Exactly. Not even if it would go direct, but they don't have, they need to have kind of a connection. So it has to go through Zulu. But even broker to Zulu, it's a slower connection. It's a terminal connection. And by the time it reaches to the other end, it might take 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, 1 or 2 seconds, sometimes it doesn't do anything, but then sometimes it matters a lot.
So it completely breaks the strategy. In some cases.
In some cases, like for example, if somebody is executing trades very fast and scalping, etc., for them it matters.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody does a long-term strategy, it wouldn't really affect the strategy because, a couple of pips difference in the price execution is not making a difference for them.
So I'm going to ask another question here, and because obviously you being in ZuluTrade, you don't have to share names or anything, but generally speaking, because this is just a topic that I've spoken about on this podcast before, and one that is interesting for me too is is there such a thing as a trader who is just consistently profitable? I'm sure there are traders that are profitable, right? I'm sure there are. And who do it for a living, right? I wouldn't want to say that doesn't exist, but just the nature of this industry, there are risks there. You cannot possibly predict and know exactly what's going to happen with whatever. And that also comes in investing in even, blue chip stocks or, some big companies, and this also comes back to the start of our conversation, what would have been the right advice for your mom? And it turns out that she made the right choice, but what is that reliable advice? And so, you could invest in Apple today. If you had to ask me, where do I put my money? Apple, Google, Tesla. I don't think these companies are going anywhere. I think consistently they're going to go up, or even, an index, so the NASDAQ or whichever. But then again, you just never know, because if we look at the Japanese index, for 20 years they were flat. I think maybe they even shrunk. I don't know, but they didn't have that what everybody talks about. What's his name? Tony Robbins. Okay. Tony Robbins, who says, if you invest all your money in an index fund, you're guaranteed to get 6% year on year forever.
It depends which index fund, I guess. Maybe it's talking S&P 500.
Yeah. The big ones, S&P 500 or NASDAQ, right? But that is today's history. I mean, how can we know? Maybe in 20, 30 years, Kamala Harris comes and breaks everything. Who knows, right? You just don't know. And so, at least within the audience that you see in ZuluTrade, do you see there are some really gifted people that just somehow they know what they're doing, and they haven't come up with some manipulation, like speculation, arbitrage, fast trading, which, I guess depends on technology and figuring out a way to know where a price is going before it hits on a specific platform. There's arbitrage, right? Somebody who actually knows, Warren Buffett, for example, like undisputable. He's proven. He's proven. He knows. He knows his stuff. He knows what to look at. In the ZuluTrade community, is there that? Do you see this reflect in anyone?
There's so many questions in that.
I packed a good one there for you.
Long sentence. In general, Warren Buffett, I think what sets him apart that he buys things for keeps. So the way he was telling us, as I understood from his interviews, that he buys things that he wants to keep for 100 years and not to sell. So that's where he is. So I guess that's where the value lies. And when it comes to trading, what's the reason behind trading? So if you're investing your money, what is it that you're looking for as a return? Are you looking to beat the interest rates that you get from a bank, rather than you depositing your money into the bank and you get an annual, 2-3% of interest? This is the number you're looking to beat, to get better than that? Or are you trying to get rich quick? Because like different people, there are some people who are trying to get rich quick. There are some people who are trying to take calculated risks, like gamblers. But when I talk about gamblers, I'm not talking about the blind gamblers who are just saying red or black on the roulette and not to think about it. There are professional gamblers. There's professional poker players or blackjack players who are calculating the risks and take decisions based on pure maths or statistics or predictions or probabilities. So there are same people in the finance industry or Forex or any level of investment, actual stocks or whatever assets. So there are different level of players and different outcomes are expected. I can't tell who is who in the game. Obviously, with ZuluTrade, we saw a lot of things over the past 17 years. We have people who are profitable for years on years. So every month, profit. Of course, maybe smaller percentage of profit than the cowboys who come in and do the Wild West style of investing. But maybe for them, it's a different goal that they want to reach. So I think there is no trader who haven't lost money. I don't think in any industry, in any asset class, there is always when you lose something. I think what matters is that how much you lose when you lose and how much you win when you win. So manage your risk and reward, and based on that, be smart about it.
That also applies to an entrepreneur, right? Or a businessman.
Yeah.
There's not one successful, that's considered successful businessman that hasn't made mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Those mistakes, those quote unquote failures, are exactly what was needed as part of their journey to grow and build a foundation to be net plus.
Yeah.
And create that status or whatever, generally this person is successful. The history at those moments in time, many people would say, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He failed in that beautifully. But lessons, right? So
some are expensive, some are cheap.
Yes, and it's exactly what you said, right? Is to calculate your that risk and say, if I make this move and it doesn't work out, how hard of a blow, how big of a punch is that going to be on me, and is it going to knock me out for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Then maybe that's not a good risk to take. But if it's going to set me back for a little bit and I'm able to get up again, dust myself off and just try again, then that, I guess, is the right mindset to have. And that also applies to trading, right?
Yeah, and compliance warning, like you don't invest any money that you not afford to lose.
Yes.
So obviously, I mean, this is, every broker says it, every broker has kind of a risk warning there, but in reality, I mean, if you want to invest, don't invest your life savings.
Yes.
You don't invest the lunch money for your kids for next month,
Yeah.
or anything. So invest all the funds that you can afford to lose, or maybe not even all of them, just a percentage of them. So yeah.
Yeah, and talking about diversifying in different asset classes, and I know that you have a hard stop at 4:00, so
maybe a little bit before.
okay.
But
Okay. So I guess just one quick comment over here, and then we can wrap it up. Diversifying, right? So, and we spoke about Warren Buffett, and I'm not saying by any means that I know better, but there's a recent post that I saw where Warren Buffett he regards crypto, like Bitcoin, as no return of value, and he was using these terms as if you give me all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, I won't take it. But if you give me, I can't remember the quote exactly how it went, but the gist of that post was, there's no return. If you put your money in Bitcoin, you're not getting any money back, as opposed to if you put your money in a stock or a fixed asset, there is rent that's coming back. There is, dividends that are coming back from stock investments. And again, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than Warren Buffett in terms of finances, but I think he's making a mistake there, because he's comparing Bitcoin to stocks and fixed assets that return an investment. And that's not the right view. I think it's a store of value, in my opinion. And he's got 320 billion in cash that he's losing a certain percentage every year because of inflation. And that would not be the case, I believe. And that's what, if you look at, the theories out there, and professionals who are in the industry with Bitcoin, it's a store of value that has a finite amount of available Bitcoins that will eventually be dispersed. It is already in the top, 10 market cap in terms of, size, up there with gold and whatever. It's not going anywhere. And I think the right comparison is, if you, Warren Buffett, are keeping 320 billion in cash, and you're not choosing to keep that money in, or at least a portion of it, right, in Bitcoin, I think that's a mistake. And what's your opinion there? And then we can wrap it up.
Look, like you said, who are we to argue with Mr. Warren Buffett? But just because you don't believe in something that has a value, it doesn't mean you can't make money off of it. There is a funny story, actually. I think it's if I know it well, it's a real story. So I'm gonna tell it very quick and short. There was one gentleman who wanted to sell a donkey back in the days in England, and he sold the donkey off, and but the gentleman paid for it. Says, I'm gonna come and collect it later. By the time the guy came back, the donkey died. But the guy who was the previous owner, he spent the money. So the new owner of the donkeys wanted the donkey or the money back, but neither was available. So then the guy said, okay, give me the dead donkey. Not a problem. Took the dead donkey and disappeared. And a couple of months passed by, and the two meet again. And, I wanted to ask, what did you do with the dead donkey? Oh, I made money off of it. How? What did you do? So you see, I made a raffle, like lottery. I made a raffle, and I made people pay £10 for a donkey. So I sold, I don't know how many raffle tickets, and people were excited to win a donkey. And eventually, the lucky winner said, okay, come back to the barn. And when they come back to the barn, I show him the dead donkey. Oh my God, sorry, the donkey died. Here is your money back. Give him back the £10. but he collected the rest of the money from the raffle ticket participants. And funny enough, that person founded the London Stock Exchange. So apparently, I don't know how much anecdotal value this has, but I believe this is a true story. So you can make money off of things that you don't think there are value in it. For some degree, I agree with Warren Buffett on a personal level that there is no tangible value in a digital asset, but it doesn't mean that you can't make use of it. So if you ask me personally, would I leave Bitcoin for my kids? I might say, okay, I might leave some, but maybe not put all my assets in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like just now, a couple of weeks ago or month ago, Bitcoin was half the value that currently is.
Yes.
Right.
It's very, very
So,
volatile. Yeah.
If you go with your analogy, you have billions at your fingertips. You put all of them in Bitcoin just not to lose a few % a year for inflation. You risk a lot for the fluctuation of the exchange rate as well. So there is inherent risk in everything. And if tomorrow there is World War III and power is cut, internet is down, what you gonna do with all your Bitcoins on a cold storage, let's say? You can't buy bread with it, let's say. Okay, maybe with cash you can't even, but cash is at least tangible. You have a piece of paper in your hand, while Bitcoin in a cold storage on a hard drive, what you gonna do with it? Throw it at the enemy?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a valid argument, right? But I think if one talks about what are the chances? We spoke about this before. What are the chances of the Nasdaq tanking? Right? Something big has to happen to the entire U.S. economy for that to have a problem long term. You never know. And I think this example with the electricity all going down, very real problem for Bitcoin. But what are the chances of that happening? Right? I think we will have a lot bigger problems.
Maybe not globally.
If the global grid, electric grid went down, I think we will have a lot bigger problems than just the inability to transfer Bitcoins.
Yeah.
I think a big meteor has struck and everything's dropped. Okay, let's wrap it up because I know you have a hard stop. Thank you very much, Zoltan, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So much more that we could have spoken about. I didn't have other questions here, but thank you very much and welcome to the very first in this new studio.
Happy to be the first one.
Yes. Closing comments, let us know where people can find you and thank you very much.
Thank you. You can find me on LinkedIn. Look up Zoltan Nemeth. There's not many running out there with the same name, especially not in Cyprus. And the company is ZuluTrade.com. It's very easy to find. We're happy to welcome every user.
Thank you, Zoltan, and that's a wrap.
Thank you very much.
100%.